Gentlemen and robotics programmers, we're going to do Project 2C Simon Says. All right, so let's crack open our book and let's see what's where did my thingy go? Oh, there it goes. All right, so let's crack open the book here and see what we're doing here. All right, so if you look at this thing, it gives 2C Simon Says. It gives us some information here. So read through this about loops, read through this about the Millis function or method, and figure out what we're going to do there. All right, answer these questions. If you don't know the answers, ask me, but you can find them in the book. All right, hook it up. So you're going to go to page 48 of that same old book, and so it's going to teach you over here how to hook it up. So some of the same stuff we've had in the past, just more of it. Okay, so take a look at that. Hook it up and code it. All right, download and open the sketch. If you go to Google Classroom, you can find a sketch that's going to look a little bit something like this. Okay, and that's our starting point. All right, let's take a look at the code to notice. What is a Boolean variable? All right, we're jumping back to our textbook. What's a Boolean variable? On right over here, it's talking about a Boolean variable. Okay, right there. So answer that question about the Boolean. And then how does a Boolean variable say rem? See if you can figure it out. It's not totally in the book. So if you don't understand that one, come talk to me individually and I'll help you answer that one. All right, so let's go ahead and code the Boolean variable. It should say Boolean game started equals false. All right, so we've got to code the Boolean variable. All right, scroll down. Wherever you got to put code, I put the little asterisks in there. All right, so we're going to click right here, and we're going to go to, all right, we're going to put in our Boolean variable. So all right, so we have a box in the RAM named game started. The only thing that could go into it is a true or false, and right now it's false. We're saying the game has not been started. So this control, if you look through the code, that really controls an awful lot of, so it's like an on or an off, like, oh, do this or don't do that. So we use that quite a bit, okay? All right, so we put in our Boolean variable that we already talked about. Okay, now check this out. So in the past, whenever we wanted to make a variable for our pins, we'd say first key pin equals 2. So we basically created one box on the RAM named first key pin, and then we initialized it or assigned a 2 to it. So we have one box with 1, 2. We have one box with 1, 3. We have one box with 1, 4. Then that worked great. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, that's the way you're typically going to do it, except for the fact that this time around, instead, we're going to put all the buttons 2, 4, 6, and 8 into an array. And by the way, doing an array looks the same, except for you say int button, and then you have the square brackets, and then you say equal, and then you have curly brackets, and you put all the items. So basically what we've done is we made a table called button, and inside that table we've put in a 2, a 4, a 6, and 8. So it's a box filled with boxes with 2, 4, 6, 8. This guy's name is button 0, button 1, button 2, and button 3. Okay? So why are we storing them in an array? Because, like we learned last time, our loop is really good for going through an array. We have our loop and it has an index number, and it's like, oh, the first index number is 0. It's like, oh, okay, so we can look at this, this, and this. Oh, the next one is time through the loop. Our index number is 1, and so we can do this one, and this one. And so, again, these are parallel arrays because when I press the button that has pin number 2, I want to turn on the LED that's on pin 3, and I want to play this tone. Same thing when I press the button that's connected to pin 4. I want to turn on the LED connected to 5, and I want to play this tone. So I can basically go through and do boom, 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 or boom, 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 or boom, boom, boom. These things all go together. If that makes no sense, go back and watch the video from before. No, if that makes no sense, I'll talk to you more about it. So why are we storing them in an array? The answer is so that we can access this, and this using our loop. And also it's nice because we put storing them in arrays because we've created these nice parallel arrays. And so when the loop is saying, hey, are you pressing the button connected to pin 2? Then at the same time you can say, oh, that's index 0. Then let's also turn on this LED and do this light. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Okay, so now that we've talked all about creating these arrays, we're actually going to, in our code, create our arrays. Okay, so we're going to come over here and we're going to go up to the instance variable declaration area, and we're going to type in those arrays. It's going to look a little something like this. Int button. So those square brackets mean we're doing an array, equals, and then we're initializing that one for the buttons. We're going to do the same thing for our LED pins, and then we're going to do the same thing with our tones that the buzzer is going to play. Okay, so type that code in just like that. Okay, let's go back to our. All right, so then the other thing we talked about, you looked at the millis function. It basically looks at, oh, what's the time on the board right now, and then you can compare it later on and see, oh, how long has it taken that guy to press the button? Did he do it fast enough? All right, so we're going to go to, let's go back to our code, and we need to find the next one. See if we can find it. Oh, I can't find it. Oh, here, it's right here. Okay, so we're going to click right here, and we're going to find our code. Okay, and so we're going to create a variable, or we're going to use a variable it's called start time. We've already created that variable. Start time equals millis. And so basically this says when you say parentheses, semicolon, it runs that method. It looks like, oh, what's the time right now in milliseconds? And then it stashes that in our box in our variable called start time. And so later on, we're going to compare it to see how long it took the guy to press the button. Okay, so now let's go down to the next part. So we talked. Hopefully you looked at to see what a loop is and how it works. So here's the loop. And so what I want you to do is I want you to put in this loop, and then I want you to see what happens. So right here we have the serial print. So this loop isn't going to do anything on the Arduino board, but on the screen, if you click on the up in the corner, I think it's over here for you guys. If you click up in the corner, it's going to show you that printout, and you can see it, see what it does. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. And then I want you to see what happens when you change the 0. So what happens if you change that to a 1 or a 2? What happens if you change that to 25 or something? And then what happens if you change the I++ to I equals I plus 2 or I equals I plus 3? So that's going to hopefully help you understand what that loop is doing. Okay, let's go ahead and grab that code there. Okay, and so that's going to be up at the beginning of our loop. There's our setup. There's our loop. All right, we're going to create a practice loop here, and again, so you're gonna run it and see if you're going to run it and see if what it does, and then change the 0 to something different, change the 5 to something different, and possibly change the I++ to something like I equals I plus 3 or something like that and see what happens. Okay, so now hopefully that all works. Ask me for help along the way. Show me your work. Show me your working project, and get me to sign off on lesson 2C before you go on to the coding challenges. Speaking of the coding challenges, let's take a look at those things here. So I want you to don't do the two-player mode. Change the do this one. This one seems fine. This is fine. So do that one and that one. Don't do this one. That one's probably more difficult than we need to. All right. Anyway, that's it. Thanks, guys.